He's the one drinking beer. I'm drinking water.
2 touchdowns a game?
Yes, in the game.
You're tripping.
How you high? No,
Greatest fucking Super Bowl time.
I don't know what we're doing in that front office, man.
Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Her.
What the fuck?
Her upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches.
Supposed to be married, June.
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to your favorite podcast on the internet. This is After Further Review, episode 260. I'm your co-host, Jalen Brown.
I am your other wonderful co-host, Malin Dennis.
I'm your other great co-host, Messer.
I'm your other co-host, June Buck Spade.
And rolling, and out of the 253, his 1975 drop-top Cadillac. It is your picking daddy, G-Money.
Holy shit.
My stomach is hurting right now.
And our special guest this week from Kellogg Sports HQ, we've got the one, the only Henry. Thank you for joining us. What's going on, Henry?
Thanks for having me in. I'm excited to talk some sports with y'all. And from the faraway place of South America where I currently am, it's always good to talk about American sports and, you know, share our hopeless football takes with each other.
Amen. G-Money, is this your Halloween costume that you are gracing our presence with?
Well, you know, I didn't do so well at the sports book the other day. So I got to put on my work clothes and get those ladies out there getting me some money.
Oh my God.
New business venture.
Yeah, I was worried about Malin. Tonight.
All right.
Oh, this is too good. Too good. All right. We have not exactly been on break, but we just haven't been on our normal nonsense this past week or so. So it's good to be back in the saddle here. Week 8 in the NFL was wacky as it, you know, as the rest of the weeks have been prior to it. So let's jump right into the Packers and Steelers game. Sorry. I was distracted.
What the hell?
It's the
Thing
pig
is, it's G-Money doing this completely sober because I don't think he can drink right now.
It's the pip juice.
I don't think he's on the job.
Yeah, you know.
It's on the job.
Not that is out of the way. Packers and Steelers, 35-25 was the final score. And Henry, you being our special guest, we will start with you first here. What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
I think the big things for me is that when the Packers offense is healthy, this team may be the most dangerous in the whole NFL. I think we saw the Packers week 1 at home just obliterate the Lions. And with full health there, with everything firing on all cylinders, they maybe have the highest upside of anyone in the whole NFL. And maybe besides the Chiefs, but they're right there. They're competing right there in the NFC. And with this game, you got Christian Watson back. He was another big threat with over 20 yards of reception. Tucker Kraft has been fantastic. And even with Josh Jacobs a little banged up, they were still able to run the ball pretty well. I just think this defense is so good for the Packers. They get after the passer so well. And when the offense comes around as well, and the offense, you know, doesn't score 10 points against the Cleveland Browns, whatever that was, this team can be really, really dangerous. And also from the other side, just quickly, the Steelers, are they ever going to be above 10-7? Is this team ever going to win the division? Are they ever going to command respect out of everyone else? I don't know. I'm yet to see it. I don't think they have enough on the offensive side.
G Money, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of the Steelers, they're a picture of mediocrity. Their defense, which played well last year when you were rotating quarterbacks between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, their defense kept them in games and won some games for them. This year, it's like it didn't show up. It's like they're like not there. I mean, you look at them and going into the season, you figure they're like a top 15 defense. They could well be a top 10. And now they're 26th, I think. They're just not good. And we've known since, I would say, the last 2 seasons of Roethlisberger that their offense isn't good. It's 1970s style, 3 yards, a cloud of dust, and maybe I can throw the ball 40 yards and hit somebody, but that's it. My defense will win games for me. Well, you got to get better. First of all, your defense has to show up and start playing again. And second of all, your offense. Maybe it's time for Tomlin to go. I know the Rooneys don't fire coaches. They just let them retire, move on. Maybe it's time. They say in the NFL that as a head coach, your message begins to get stale after 5 years. And he's been there a lot longer than 5 years. His message, whatever he's telling that team, they don't care. So the Steelers aren't good. The Packers, I'm still not sold on the Packers. I'm really not sold on the Packers yet. I'm not sold on their defensive backfield. Pretty sure June can elaborate on how they're hot shit and not in a good way. But you kind of expected the Steelers to step up and play better than what they did. And kudos to the Packers. I mean, offensively, they are getting better. Defensively, I just don't know how well they are going to do against better offensive teams, against Detroit, against the Eagles, hell, against Tampa if it's healthy, even against my Seahawks. I just don't know if they're playing on the road how well their defense is going to hold up.
Go ahead, June.
Yeah, the Packers, the game was a 16-14 game up until the fourth quarter. And the wheels just fell off that entire bus for the Steelers. And I was sitting there, as most of us, we picked, a lot of us picked the Steelers to actually, to cover the 3 points this week. But I don't know what happened in that fourth quarter, but Jordan Love just went nuts. 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. This team they just let it loose, but they cannot rely. I mean, I guess you could, but they like G Money just said, you have to be careful about that going into the fourth quarter and thinking I'm just going to win the game here, because there's other teams that can really win the game in the fourth quarter. Because they still got to play Detroit again, they still got to play Chicago again. They got to play all these teams in their division. Plus, they got to play a couple of the big dogs in the NFC. So I'm curious to see what they do going forward and how the secondary will hold up against those better teams who like to throw the ball deep and can throw the ball deep. So I'm going to be very curious about that.
Malin.
I'd just like to point out that I was not one of those some people that picked the Steelers to win that game.
All right.
Well, starting with the Steelers first. I was surprised when I was going over stats with G Money a couple nights ago that Aaron Rodgers is actually second in the NFL in touchdown passes. Surprises me. He's got 16. I think the leader is Stafford at 17. It kind of tells me that one, they're a little bit too one-dimensional on offense. That running game is not very consistent, and they're relying too much on a 41-year-old win football games because that defense is not what it used to be. And in regards to Tomlin, he might need to go, but I don't think he's going anywhere for a long time. Since the Steelers had Chuck Noll start as the head coach of the Steelers, they've had Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. In that time frame, there have been 5 popes in the Vatican, people. We've seen more black smoke signifying a pope's death and white smoke signifying somebody else is a new pope than we've had Steelers have head coaches. That is effing wild. So I don't think he's going anywhere. Around there, they're just kissing the ring, putting him in a bulletproof car and just driving him around Pittsburgh. Now the Packers. I don't know. If the Cowboys were worth a damn, then the Packers would be sitting at 2 losses like everybody else. But they got to be a couple ugly sisters and kiss each other and tie. So Packers fans get to talk about being number 1 in the NFC right now. Like half the conference isn't have 1 or 2 losses. I'm not sold on the offense. Jacobs isn't really showing me much. I know that he's technically number 2 in yards, but he's averaging less than 4 yards a carry. He's at 3.6 yards a carry. I think he does have 7 touchdowns. They're smart to give him the ball inside the 5. I think his longest run is only 19 yards for the year, though. After 7 games, you'd like that running game to be a little bit more dynamic. But, I mean, I think they'll be right there at the end of it. If anything, they're going to end up being a wild card. I would still kind of predict the Lions to end up overtaking them in the North at some point. But I think they're legitimate for as well as this year intake in this, every week is week 1 in the NFL. We have no idea what the hell is going to happen. So, yeah, Packers are all right.
Go ahead, Nestor.
Yeah, last week I said if you were to bet on the Steelers, you're going to lose money. And that's exactly what happened. If you bet on the Steelers, I think that win they got overseas against the Vikings was completely overblown. Because now we see what the Vikings are providing the rest of the league. That defense is not like what it used to be. So the Steelers they get 9 or 10 wins, maybe, and then people just, how did they get up there? They have allowed, out of the last 7 games, I think 4 of them above 30 points. The Jets, they allowed 32 points. Seahawks, 31 points. That's valid. It's the Seahawks. 33 points against the Bengals. 35 now against Green Bay. So that defense is definitely an issue. I think they might have the most expensive defense in the league. And for having that, they're definitely not playing like it. The offense is also, you got DK, but they need somebody over there that can actually, besides those tight ends they have, like Pat and Jonnu Smith, they need somebody else that can actually catch the ball. So as for the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love torched the Steelers secondary. I think it's a good team. We have to remember, I think 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking about, maybe less than that, we were talking about whether we should put stock in Jordan Love. We were just talking about whether he was a good quarterback or not, whether he would be the franchise quarterback. And now we have Tucker Kraft. Now we got, the offense is kind of rolling now. So I still think they're a team that's almost there. I don't think they're a Super Bowl candidate this year, but they're getting there. Definitely getting there.
Yeah, this game was not much was really happening until the 4th quarter came around, because it was just more of a defensive battle, and just neither team. So it's hard for me to really put too much blame on one side. But my biggest takeaway with all that being said is J Love is legit, and he had a hell of a fourth quarter to show that, like, hey, I'm that guy. Y'all can debate about it if you want, but this is my team. Like, I'm the new franchise quarterback. This was not exactly a coming out party because I think he kind of already has sort of established that, but he put it on notice like this season, hey, the Packers are going to be legit because I'm him. 360 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was sensational that fourth quarter. And Tucker Kraft, clearly that's a great link that they've got going right there. Steelers side of the ball, it's hard for me to put much blame on Aaron Rodgers. I feel like this season he's done what the Steelers have asked him to do. But their defense is just terrible, absolutely terrible. And they are fighting hard for a spot on my ban list. So, yeah, I got to give it to the Packers. They are showing that they are title contenders, and this game was a pretty good example of that. So, tip my hat. Let's move on to the next game, which was the Broncos and the Cowboys. Final score, 44-24. Henry, was this more about bad play from the Cowboys, or was this more about how good the Broncos are?
I think that here we've seen the Cowboys defense really struggle in the past few weeks. But to me, this is more of the same from the Cowboys defense. I think really their secondary has struggled to get stops. They've really struggled to get pressure without Micah, but just it seems like this defense is coming out flat in a lot of games. They have personnel to be way better than they are. And they've got corners playing soft press coverage. They're missing tackles in the secondary and so forth. And when you have a subpar game from Dak, as they're going to do, where he threw 2 interceptions in this one, you can't keep up. They don't have a good enough ground game. Javonte Williams has been very hit or miss. They haven't ran the ball well against good defenses, and we know that the Broncos defense is top 5, at the very least top 10. They've got one of the best overall units in the whole league. So against a better defense, they had a lot of guys pitch in the rushing attack, and on the stat sheet it says 108 yards. But if you watch the game, it was a struggle. Their backs didn't get more than 3.5 yards a carry between them. And Javonte Williams punched in a pair of touchdowns, but that was mostly off of the passing game there. So I think that when the Cowboys offense struggles, they're going to lose, just straight up. And from the other side, Bo Nix, he's been a good quarterback. He certainly has not been the shining star of the class. That's probably been Drake May this season. We've really seen him explode. But for me, Nix under a good system with good weapons. They don't have great receivers. They have good receivers. Shout out to Cortland Sutton, putting in some work for my fantasy team over there. But this has been good. And under the right system, under Sean Payton, with a good defense, he can be a winning quarterback. So here he had 4 touchdowns, a pair to Troy Franklin, who had a big fantasy week. And, yeah, the Broncos' offense has been hit or miss, but their defense continues to keep them in games. So I'm not sold on the Broncos' offense yet. They got multiple takeaways from Dak. I think this was a bad Cowboys game, and their defense really propelled them. But to me, I think this Broncos team, they've still got a ways to go to really compete at the top of the AFC. They don't look as physically dominant. Even this would sound crazy to say at the start of the season, but they don't look as physically dominant as the Colts or as situationally good as the Chiefs. So I want to see more consistency from them. This game, although a huge win, it was really carried by that defense, getting turnovers, getting big stops, and again, just winning at the line of scrimmage.
Go ahead, G-Money.
Well, the interesting thing about Dallas, right? I mean, we all know that defensively they are susp. But they haven't won on the road at all this season. They've lost every single road game. So, you go into another team's house and you get beat. We knew the defense was bad. We knew when they traded Micah, the defense wasn't getting any better. I mean, you don't get better usually by subtraction. And offensively, initially we wondered how CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens would work out, because we've seen Dallas before having two, basically a 1 and a 1A wide receiver, and at some point they had to get rid of one of them because it wasn't working out for them. It's too bad because Dak isn't a bad quarterback, but you just look at everything and you think the O-line needs to be better. And that helps with the run game. And if other teams know that you're going to give up 30 points a game, then they know they have to keep you to like 24. If my defense can keep you to 24 or less, I'm winning the game. Dallas has to fix that defense, and that's going to happen after the season. They're not going to make any big trades. They're not going to get all of a sudden much better than they are right now. Offensively, more consistent with running the ball, better blocking when it comes to that. Because I think now that they've got CeeDee Lamb back, they're thinking, hey, we're just going to be a passing team. We got CeeDee, we got Pickens, boom, boom. That's going to be our game. But that can't be your game because other teams are going to shut that game down. And if you can't run, you're going to land up being a 6-11 team. That's what you're going to be. You'll be looking at a top 10 draft pick.
Go ahead, Jim.
And
yeah, the one thing I said I had in my TikTok this week, I said, if the Cowboys do not keep up in scoring, they're getting blown out. That's the first thing I said when I opened up, talking about the game this week. And what we saw was what happens when they can't score, when they can't keep up in scoring. The first drive when they intercepted Bo Nix was just, I don't even know what Bo Nix was looking at. That was just a bad pass by him. And it was a good play. And I thought, okay, maybe Dallas has a chance. But the one thing they didn't do is, you got a young quarterback. What do you want to do to a young quarterback? You want to put pressure on him. And you got to go down and you got to pop that ball into the end zone. I don't know why. We have a fullback on the team not running the ball with Hunter Lepke or having him lead block to get Javonte Williams for that first drive into the end zone. That would have went a long way into putting a lot more pressure on the Broncos. Once they didn't score that touchdown, the Broncos was like, oh, well, okay, we're just going to go down and score. Now it became a track meet. And now, because they couldn't run the ball as well as they wanted to, now they have to throw the ball more. Well, now you just sit back and cover two. The man up on the outside, you sit back and cover two with the safeties. And now you can get those interceptions like they did. And that's how they pretty much got them. And a couple of things that they did. Number one, they took away one of the weapons that people don't talk about that much, but he's one of the top tight ends in the league, and that's Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson had 0 catches. And I think that was their defensive coordinator saying, we're going to take this guy out the game. He's not going to get those 3-yard passes, which they kind of use for the running game. Jake Ferguson is an athletic guy, so he can catch a 3-yard pass and take it 17 yards down the field. They took that away. He had 0 catches. 0. Okay? So that's one of the weapons. Another thing that happened that was bad in this game is, talk about not being able to run the ball and not having, well, what happened, I noticed in the game after I turned it off because I almost shot the TV a couple of times, penalties on long runs were killing the team. Jaden Blue had an 18-yard run. He had a run where he went up inside, bounced it outside, 18-yard, beautiful run. Guess what? Holding. Javonte Williams had a run up the middle, about 12, 13 yards, holding. Javonte Williams around the outside, a 15-yard run, holding. There was about 7 or 8 holding calls. And again, this team, the discipline on this team, it comes down to is that you can't hold in these situations. But it also comes down to, this is what we talk about when you're down to your 3rd and 4th guy, especially on the offensive line. We're not used to the quarterback calls. We had a number of procedural penalties on the offense. And on the back end, we're down to our third string safeties. And guess what happened? You had a bunch of pass interference. Or I saw a couple of times they ran that square so many times where the receiver was wide open that I just gave up. Because every single time. So Jerry Scott gonna have to some money. You got rid of Micah. So now you got that contract guy out there. Kenny Clark is being paid for by the Packers. Jerry's going to have to spend some money to fix this team. But on the Broncos side, the Broncos did good of exploiting the defense that they were playing against. That's what you're supposed to do. When you got a defense that is not good, you're supposed to take advantage of them. They don't have their safeties, throw the ball over the top. They don't have their corners or missing at least one of their starting corners, and the 2 second string corners are out. So now you get the third string corners playing. Well, you run square ends, you run drag routes, you run those things that's going to separate yourself. And guess what? It works. And guess what? It worked. So congrats to the Denver Broncos. We still haven't beat them since 1995.
Go ahead, Malin.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not hard to exploit the defense when the defense is terrible. When you just run your base offense, you're going to run all over them. I think we'll say this. I think it's more the Broncos being who they are than it is Dallas just playing bad, because we can expect Dallas to play bad on defense. That offense had been humming. That offense was the second highest scoring offense in the NFL, and they just looked terrible. I mean, Dak Prescott threw for 188 yards and 2 interceptions. I don't want to hear shit about him being a top 5 QB in the NFL. He's number 4 in the NFC East right now, as far as I'm concerned, with that dog ass performance. We just start giving Javonte Williams flowers. What does he do? He's like, oh, let me run for 3 yards a carry, so he can kiss my ass. You know, what Dak really needs to do is stop pressing the ball to CeeDee Lamb and throw it to his real number 1 wide receiver Pickens more often. Like, he was pressing.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Nestor. Go ahead, Nestor.
He was forcing it. Like, there were so many times where, like, Pickens is wide open and he's like throwing these uncatchable balls to CeeDee Lamb, trying to get him involved because CeeDee Lamb's feelings probably hurt because Pickens was doing so well while he was hurt. So they both end up with 7 catches and 75 and 78 yards and no real difference in the game. I mean, meanwhile, they turned Bo Nix looking like the second coming of Drew Brees. That defense is just terrible. But I mean, we saw this Denver offense terrible last week for 3 quarters, and then turn it on and score 33 points in the 4th quarter against the Giants. We knew that Sean Payton was going to have an efficient offense. I didn't know that Dallas's game plan was to help them be as efficient as possible. But I think there's more about just Dallas being who they are versus Dallas necessarily playing bad. I thought that Dallas offense would have played better. That Denver defense is legit. So I guess in the famous words of Denny Green is they both are who we thought they were. The Cowboys are who we thought they were. And so is Denver at this point.
Go ahead, Nestor.
Yeah, I'll be quick on this one. I think, unfortunately, I do have to give the Broncos credit here. Yeah, the Cowboys have problems on defense, but I guess Broncos fans have a lot to get excited about with RJ Harvey and guys like Sutton and Troy Franklin. Maybe they can become a little bit more consistent, and they'll have an actual offense over there. And I think the defense was really good. That's what they needed. The Cowboys, I think a lot of people were expecting them to hit kind of a wall with the Broncos because this is, like I said, it's a really good defense over there. They didn't miss PS2 that much when he got hurt. So I think overall you got to give the Broncos here some credit. The defense, the coaching. I forgot the defense coordinator's name. But they're doing a hell of a job over there. So give them credit. They're ending the month of October undefeated. So big W for the Broncos.
Yeah, I think there's a little of each. Like it is, I think the Broncos are showing that they are legit, and like Nestor just said, they haven't lost a game this month, so that's very hard to argue with. But at the same time, the Cowboys, they are. I think it was Chris Broussard I heard say this. Compare them to that kid in class who like shows up without his notebook or a pencil 4 days out of the week, and then like that one day he like has the most genius answer to a question, and it's like that is the Cowboys, where they're just usually you see them and they're like, you guys aren't really that good, and then they have that one great performance that is like, okay, they're just kind of still hanging around. I don't know. The Cowboys just puzzle me completely. Dak is Dak. He's kind of doing the same thing he always does, but the rest of the team is just, you have no idea where you're going to get. But the Broncos, I think they are legit. I really do think that they are going to challenge to win that division. I think it's going to be a 3-team race to who's going to win the AFC West. And regardless, they are going to make some noise this year as we, kind of get into the second half of the season here. So very interesting what Sean Payton is doing with that team there. Speaking of AFC teams doing things, the Ravens upset the Bears 30-16. This game was stupid. Henry, will the Bears be a playoff team?
I'm saying no. I think they still got a long way to go, and they're going to have their ups and downs. They're going to look really strong. They're going to do enough to make you believe one week, and then the next week they're going to do enough to make you wonder why you ever had an idea that they would make the playoffs. And to me, the hard part with the Bears is, they went up against an injured Ravens team, and the Ravens defense has been maybe one of the worst in the whole NFL. They've just been horrific on the back end. First week against Buffalo, maybe thought it was a fluke, but it hasn't been a fluke. They've just been let everyone back there. Everyone's running the ball on them. And I think the issue for the Bears is that, unfortunately, you're just in maybe the toughest division in football. It's one of the toughest, at least. NFC North, that is, with the Packers and the Lions and the Vikings over here. So down here as well at the stats, and Caleb Williams was good. No touchdowns. They ran for 1 touchdown. And yeah, I just think here that the Bears struggled in this one, and Ravens are still the betting favorite to win this division. So isn't that crazy to think about? They're 2-5 over here, and they're the betting favorite to win the division over the Steelers. So yeah, they ran the ball decently well. They still received the ball well. They got a lot of yards. It didn't amount to much. They're not giving me enough. And against the Ravens, they still have a lot to do more.
Go ahead, G-Money.
But yeah, and we all did not pick the Ravens. Why? Because Lamar Jackson wasn't starting, and we thought that the Bears, given the points, would, if not outright win, keep the game close enough, because we knew that the Ravens defense just hasn't been good. Hasn't been good. Ever since Mike McDonald left, that defense just hasn't been good. At least not as good as it was under him. So it was a surprise to a degree that Chicago lost the way it did. But kudos to Baltimore for showing up and playing, and for Tyler Huntley for, his 1 game a year he gets to play. But the Bears are not going to make the playoffs. They're not. There's too many good teams in the NFC. for that to happen. Maybe next year, Caleb Williams needs to learn not to make stupid mistakes. The defense is getting better. Baltimore, yeah, it is crazy that they're the betting favorite to win the NFC North. But then again, you look at Cleveland, Cincinnati, who went from Burrow to Jake Browning to Joe Flacco. I think the next quarterback is Otto Graham. I understand that they may be able to dig him up and he may be able to play a game for them. Because I don't think Flacco's going to be playing this week. It's not surprising. But no, I think Baltimore, the one thing they did do was run the ball, and Travis Henry ran the ball well. I thought the Bears would have figured that one out and forced Hundley to throw the ball a lot more, but maybe they did figure it out and they just couldn't stop it. I mean, so the Bears are going to be the Bears. They're not going to make the playoffs. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson's coming back. If they can still remember how to run the ball and run the ball well, yeah, I see why they would be the NFC North the AFC North favorite, because the other teams really just aren't that good at all. And that's pretty sad if you're 2-5 and you're the favorite to win your division. That just says that the rest of your teams, they're worse than bad, because you're bad and they're just like crap floating in the bottom of a sewer. You could put those three teams together and maybe Baltimore wouldn't be favored to win the AFC North, but God, those teams. Cleveland, no quarterback. Cincinnati, nothing. No defense, no quarterback. Pittsburgh, no defense. And a 40-year-old quarterback who is, playing better than most of us probably thought he would, but that's not going to get you anywhere. So, yeah, kudos for Baltimore. Chicago, go back to the drawing board, figure it out. You will have better days, but you've got to really figure it out. You got to play defense better, and when you're on offense, you got to play better than you did. Caleb Williams has got to learn how to be a quarterback. Got to, for that franchise to succeed. Otherwise, they'll be doing like they've done the last 6-8 years, drafting a quarterback in the first round in the next draft.
Go ahead, June.
Did y'all just lose my picture?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
still
sorry
hear you.
for me talking about your Cowboys.
Okay.
Face again.
No, I believe that the Bears won't be a playoff team. They're scheduled. First of all, the last 5 games of the schedule is brutal for them, and so no. And then they still got to play the Packers twice. No, and so I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. They got a lot of work to do. I think they're on the right track. I believe this. I believe, number one, Ben Johnson was a great hire. That was a terrific hire. The guy was number one on everybody's board. They wanted the guy, so kudos to Ben Johnson. And I think he's on the right track with his team. But this season's going to be a wash. That the schedule doesn't dictate them. Again, it's coming down to their schedule. And that they just don't play great at the time they're supposed to. This should have been a game where Caleb Williams should have been out there showing, I am a great quarterback. Watch what I do to the Baltimore Ravens, like everybody else has. And he shit the bed. And the whole team shit the bed. I just can't blame Caleb, but the whole team shit the bed. But Caleb Williams, as the face of the franchise now, did not step up in the game and be the quarterback that we thought that he should be, with all the hype coming out. So I think for now, it's going to be a big no for me on the Bears making the playoffs.
Go ahead, Malin.
I'm gonna give him a chance. If you had to ask me to like put a percentage on it, I would honestly probably put a 55% chance that Chicago can make the playoffs. What it's really gonna come down to me is can San Francisco keep winning games? As hurt as they are because they're sitting there at 5-3, because there's only 8 teams in the NFC with a winning record right now. And Chicago's one of them, and they're the 8th. They only got to move up one spot. So is San Francisco going to drop off? I don't see Seattle, the Rams, or Tampa, or Green Bay, or Detroit, or Philly dropping off. I'm really looking at the 49ers there. And, another team that could, catch fire again, hopefully after Sunday night when they lose to us. But, could Washington get on a winning, a winning streak there? They're only one. I mean, they're like one game back of Chicago right now. Dallas is going to finish 500. And I did not mean any disrespect when I said it there, who we thought they were. Like, we all said in the beginning of the year that they're going to score a lot of points, but they're going to give up a lot of points. So to me, that equals a team. They're just too inconsistent. Atlanta at 3-4 isn't going to do anything. So you just really need San Francisco to lose some games they should instead of keep winning games they shouldn't. And they have a chance. I do think that there's going to be 3 wild cards, or there's going to be 3 playoff teams out of either the North or the NFC West. I just don't know which division that's going to be. So I'll give them a shot right now. Yeah, they shit the bed against Baltimore. Every team in the NFL has shit the bed against one team or another that you thought they should have won. And that was the first time this whole year where they even failed to score 21 points. So the offense has not been great, but it had been kind of consistent up until then. As far as the Ravens, could you imagine playing so bad for the first half of the year and you only find yourself 2 games out of first at the end of the day? I mean, that's insane. Pittsburgh is not great. Aaron Rodgers is going to kill himself trying to push this team to the playoffs. I'd give him a great shot at winning the division if Lamar Jackson comes back healthy, which is wild to even think that. Because, again, there's only 8 teams in the AFC that have a winning record, and I'm not that sold on the Chargers. Damn sure I'm not sold on Jacksonville. I do think Buffalo and New England are safe to probably make the playoffs, but I would give Baltimore because right now Jacksonville, I think, is sitting at that 7 seed. I would give the Ravens an above average chance of either catching Pittsburgh or Jacksonville for either the division title or the wild card by the end of the year if you let them hang around long enough, which I think the Steelers and Jacksonville are going to do. So they'll probably make it too.
Go ahead, Nestor.
Yeah, I don't give them much of a shot. They got maybe 3 or 4 decent games they could probably get wins out of. After that, it's Eagles, Packers, the Browns, then the Packers again, 49ers, and then the Lions. I don't see it happening. They're too inconsistent. I hesitate to blame yet another quarterback for the struggles of the Bears and the entire organization. So I think it's more on them than it is on the quarterbacks at this point. So, but yeah, they're not making the playoffs.
Man, I'm going to be the only person here who is joining Malin. I agree with pretty much everything he said. I give them just above like a 50% chance at making it, simply because the NFC is pretty top heavy. Like the teams that should make the playoffs, like they're going to be in there. And then there's a bit of a drop off into this weird area where it's like them, Chicago, San Francisco, and it's like I would like their odds of creeping on in there if they can just improve their play by just a bit. It doesn't have to be anything drastic, but like we've seen flashes of them what a playoff Chicago Bear team looks like. And I feel like if they can just play like that a bit more consistently, they should be able to make the playoffs. It's just a matter of what the hell are you going to get from Caleb Williams week in and week out. So yeah, but I do like their odds to make the playoffs. If I was a Chicago Bears fan, I would not be writing this season off as a loss quite yet. I would be nervous as hell, though. I'll tell you that much.
I would just like to add one more thing, Jalen. That San Francisco sits at 5-3 because they were 3-0 against the division the first half of the year. They beat the Seahawks, Rams, and the Cardinals. I don't see that happening in the second half of the season where they run the table against the West again and get another 3 wins. I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to second. Maybe not against the Cardinals, but I think the Seahawks and the Rams are going to have their number in the second half of the year.
Gotcha. All right. I'm assuming June is working out Discord difficulties here, but we are going to continue moving on here, and we're going to get into the news because there was some big news last week with the NBA specifically. And Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups and a few other people were arrested in part of this big FBI investigation into sports gambling and their association with it. Chauncey Billups apparently associated with a kind of gambling ring that his name was brought into. Terry Rozier accused of taking himself out of a game a few years ago, and then telling people to take the under on his numbers. Not a very good look. And then there's also, is it Damon Jones, I think, who was like associated with LeBron and
for the Cavs and Lakers.
Right. He was like part of coaching staffs that LeBron was on, teams that LeBron was on. So yeah, it's a mess here and a lot going on, and obviously the chips haven't completely fallen yet, but very, very big deal in the NBA here. Curious to get your guys' thoughts, and we can just kind of go more open discussion here. But Henry, we will start with you on what do you think here?
Sweet. Well, I will preface this by saying I just made a video. I just made a action model for the games, and last night we went 4 for 5. Tonight we've started 5 for 5. My model, it's doing pretty well so far. So if you're interested to see how I did that, you can check it out. I just put the video up, so excited to explore what makes the spreads and the lines and all that. And I think it's interesting here because all these guys were involved in.
Sorry, June, try muting yourself.
Sorry,
there it is.
There we go.
There we go. So with this investigation, there were 34 people that were involved with in 11 states. And there is another separate indictment of Chauncey Billups in basically mafia underground poker rings, which is just crazy. The sports ties to the mafia and using technology, using betting to steal money basically from the government and from other people, and like rigging games, all this stuff. It's the mafia's rigging these poker games, being in on the sports gambling side where they have control. But to me, what's crazy is that Terry Rozier, he was on one of the most maybe player friendly contracts you could say in the whole NBA. The guy wasn't doing a whole lot for Miami this past year and getting paid near $30 million if I remember right. So what's the difference? Yeah, what's the difference in a few thousand for your family? You know, just suit up and go out there and play, and you make more money. You know, you're bringing in tens of thousands of dollars per game, hundreds of thousands of dollars. To me, it's like, what's the point of getting involved in all this stuff on the side? So as an NBA player, especially Rozier, Chauncey Billups, he was a great player and now coaching as well. These guys have made money. They've been successful. And yeah, why are they involved? Maybe it reveals something deeper, that there is involvement with the illegal side, involvement with the mafia side, with the gambling side. And I really do think gambling is dangerous, not only for people that can get addicted and stuff, but also the outside of gambling. And sports has just thrown gambling all over the place. And I think maybe it's a little bit ambitious to promote gambling on just about everything. I think the numbers can be really interesting, and that's why I'm kind of looking into it. But all this other stuff can be really dangerous, and the mafia, the betting, players choosing to keep themselves out, that really affects the product on the floor. And it just feels wrong as a fan. It feels wrong in the NBA, especially 34 people, 30 involved in this. You got to think there's more going on in the NBA that's just being covered up, and we don't even know about it.
I mean, the NBA has nobody to blame for themselves, though. I mean, they tried to sweep that whole Donaghy thing under the rug years ago, trying to convince everybody that he was a lone referee that was fixing games. When the whole thing with Terry Rozier happened back in 2023, there were over 200 something bets on his unders, but there was one particular person that bet 31 times in different sports books on his unders and hit on all of them. And he bet like upwards of like $20,000. And all the gaming commissions, they went to the NBA and was saying this looks fishy. And quote unquote, the NBA did their own investigation back in 2023. Said, nah, nothing impropriety, nothing bad happened. And then 2 years later, the FBI, and I was talking to G Money about this, I love that the FBI waited until the NBA season started. They had this information before the league started, and they're like, we're about to be on C-SPAN. This is going to be awesome. They're going to talk about us on ESPN like they do LeBron James. So I do think that the FBI was funny with that. The whole thing with the Damon Jones things, you guys remember when LeBron James broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record, and then all of a sudden he missed 3 games with a hurt ankle? Those are the games that coach was telling people, hey, LeBron James is going to sit out. Bet on the Pacers the next night, which they won by like 18 or something like that. Chauncey Billups was telling bookies that the Trailblazers were going to tank and weren't going to play their starters in games at the end of the year. And that's not even as bad as what he was doing with the mob in this poker ring, which was rigged for people to lose. When you rig things for people to lose, you really think people are going to keep quiet when they know they've been cheated? It's not going to happen. So the NBA has, I would say it has a huge respectability issue. Baseball, football, they don't play around with that. I mean, hell, Major League Baseball back in the 80s said, Pete Rose, oh, you've had more hits than anybody in the game. We don't give a damn. Bam. Like, they just don't care. They want to keep the respectability of their league, and the NBA just wants to keep trying to, sweep it under a rug. And here we are again talking about it. But I mean, I still don't think it's getting enough press. It's not getting as much press as I think it should be right now. Like, it came out last week, and all of a sudden, like, nobody's talking about it. I don't know who Adam Silver is paying, or who he has blackmail on. But all of a sudden, no one's talking.
They've got one hell of a PR team over there.
I do think that part of the reason that it's kind of already dying down, and if you look at the biggest name in sports media, they have their own sports book. It would be detrimental for ESPN to go out there and essentially poo-poo sports betting in any way, even if it is, as big of a story and it's one of their biggest things that they talk about with the NBA. I think it was Rachel Nichols was talking about it, but she was like, Get Up or whoever it was, whatever ESPN show was talking about this while they have an ad for ESPN Bet going across the bottom of their screen. Like there is definitely a bit of mixing church and state that's going on here, because it's weird how a lot of these media outlets are trying to dance around this stuff. But yeah, I think that the NBA they will get through this, definitely, but it's another kind of stain on the rigged thing with the NBA, because people do say that about the NFL too, but not in the same sense. More of like a scripted sense rather than the NBA. People really get on to the refs and in the lines and in the players and just from the history of what we've seen with the refs in the NBA. That I don't think that this helps long term as far as fixing that stain that's already on the NBA.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because initially, when you started betting back in the olden days, you're betting basically points. You're betting the line. You weren't so much. There weren't player props, right? Well, now we've seen the explosion of player props, not just starting players, but bench players. I mean, players that might not even get on the court, and the NBA came out, it was yesterday, and they were saying, well, they have to change how they put bets out. They can't, maybe they shouldn't do prop bets. It's like, okay, so you're going to tell MGM Bets or Caesars or DraftKings or something that they can't do prop bets. Yeah, and you're taking money from them. Yeah, tell me how that's going to work, because it's not. And to kind of act like, yeah, it's not a big deal. You lose your integrity. And now you're no longer the NBA, you're the WWE. Yeah, you got fans, but everybody knows who's going to win. I mean, why would you bet? Why? It just becomes entertainment. It's no longer sport, because then, it's like, well, LeBron only had 22 points tonight and 6 rebounds and 3 assists. I bet his under. I won. But if his under was like, no, I'm just going to pull myself. I don't feel like playing anymore. It's going to come to a head when players like LeBron, like Luka, like the Joker, SGA, if it comes out that they're doing the same thing and family members, friends are betting on their prop bets as far as their over and under and their points, their rebounds and everything, and they're giving them inside information, or they pull themselves out, oh, wait a minute, I think I got a hammy. And, you sit down halfway through the third quarter and you don't finish the game. Because the NBA isn't taking it seriously. And not only did the NBA know about Rozier, but the FBI told them too. They gave them the information, and yeah, man, nothing there. So when they did the walk, it's like a finger to the NBA going, hey, we told you. You guys said there's nothing there. Oh, yeah, and guess what? We're going to convict all these people. All these people are going to get convicted. And I remember Rozier's attorney going like, he's made $160 million. He doesn't need the money. It's like, sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's about being bigger than who you are. You have inside information. Martha Stewart that got convicted of insider trading because she gave a friend information on a company that she knew and what was going to happen. It's like having information that someone doesn't have. It's like, yeah, bet on my unders because I don't know. I might not be playing the whole game. I'm not sure. Or hey, Luka's not going to be playing tomorrow night, so bet his unders. Bet all of them. And it's not about the money, because as we've all seen, they didn't make a whole lot of money. It wasn't like you had some guy going into Vegas, going to Reno, going into every other casino that you could go into as a sports book and laying down $500,000 on Terry Rozier's unders for that game. I mean, they bet what, 30, 40,000 to make 200. I mean, it's not about for the player. It's definitely not about the money, because you make that in one game easily. It's more about the feeling of being important, of being that guy that knows. And I'll go see Rozier because he knows, or like my Uncle Rozier, he told me this. I know it's going to happen, and it happens, and like, oh, wow, what else does he know? And with Chauncey Billups, you get involved in I truly don't know how you get involved in underground poker games when you can go and play poker anywhere. And if you want to play high stakes poker, go to Vegas, go to the Venetian, go to the Bellagio, the poker rooms there. They've got cash games going on where it takes you $1.5 million to buy into that cash game. So if you want to sit down and you want to play for big money, that's where you go. Now, I don't know, maybe Chauncey needed the money in that regard, or maybe they didn't tell him everything. Maybe they just said, hey, come on in. We'll front you. We'll front you the money. We just want you to bring in we're going to use you to bring in big money, and we'll front you, and any money you win is yours. And you're not going to lose any money. Maybe that's how they brought it up to him. I don't know. We'll find that out if it goes to trial. But man, the NBA has an issue, and they don't want to face that issue. And if they don't face it, it's going to be bigger than they think. Because if you think just a few players are doing this, I think not. They're going to find a lot more than just a few. And if Adam Silver isn't willing to do that deep dive and find out, I don't think they're going to like the next TV deal they do.
June, Nestor, anything else you guys want to add to this?
It's shameful it came from somebody in the Heat. But I suspect there's a lot more people in it than we believe. And in every sport. Because there's stuff like this all the time in soccer overseas. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a lot more is going to come out about this. The Chauncey Billups thing is just weird because if you think about it, and the way the FBI is going to probably look at it, and the way his lawyer is going to frame it, is that hey, those people was there doing something illegal, so they was there in an illegal poker game, and something illegal happened. So hey, that's just part of you're doing something bad, But Terry Rozier, he should never step foot in the NBA again. That's it for him. And anybody else involved, again, a lot more is going to come out about this.
I'm actually sad about that because I would like Rozier to stay on the Heat because I think he made some worse.
That's only because he's betting on his unders.
He'd have been really fun this year. So good.
All right, let's switch gears entirely over to baseball. World Series currently tied to, we're in the 8th inning right now, where the Blue Jays are leading 5-1. This has been a
6-1.
Sorry, 6-1. This has been a very there's a 6-run. Very entertaining World Series because what was that, Monday night where the game went to 18 innings?
18 innings.
Absolutely ridiculous. What have your guys' thoughts been on this World Series?
I don't like it so far. As my Mariners lost to these goddamn Canadians, and I don't want them winning the World Series. But I mean, it looks, for all intents and purposes, like Toronto is going to go up 3-2 and have 2 games to play at home. And as G Money and I know, that going back to Toronto up 3-2, it wasn't good for us, but it could be good for Toronto since they'll be the ones up 3-2. I'll tell you one thing is I don't feel as angry about my Mariners not batting worth a damn against Toronto in the ALCS when I've seen the way the Blue Jays pitchers have really stymied the Dodgers bats, especially the last 2 games. The 18th inning game was thrilling. I mean, there were so many highlights. Sports Center put out a highlight video and put it on social media, and it was 33 minutes long. 33 minutes long worth of highlights. I mean, you had runners getting picked off at third and at home, and botched fielding with people getting caught out. You had your home runs. Ohtani reaching base 9 times in a row, 11 times total between games 1, 2, and 3. Toronto fucked up not walking him in the 7th inning, though. Like, you're up 1 run. He's already 3 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs, and you pitch to him again. And what does he do? Hits a home run. But I mean, it was theater. It was awesome. But outside of that one game, the World Series to me has actually been kind of boring. Outside of that one game, these other 3 games that we're watching, I just really don't want them powder blue jackass bastards to win this thing. So
I'm with you. I'm not a fan of the Canadians either. But I will say that 18th inning baseball game, that's probably the best baseball game I've ever seen live. And I remember the 18th inning, game from the Dodgers. Was it 2018? I remember watching that one. I watched a good bit of it, and then I went to bed. But this one I stayed up for, and the time change here, I was up till 4 a.m. watching that. So that was a marathon, but it was awesome. It was great. It was everything you could ask for in a baseball game, just like you talked about. But I also agree. It's like all the magic of the World Series of baseball was just compressed into that one game, because the rest of these, they haven't been super close. The Blue Jays and their wins have been commanding. And you look at the score and it's close, but in general, it's just been great pitching, and surprisingly great pitching in my mind because of how solid the Dodgers looked hitting on the other side. The Blue Jays bats were going to be consistent. They've been consistent throughout the postseason. Even against the Mariners, they just had the bats down the stretch. And even with Springer getting hurt this series, they've still just it's been clutch. Guerrero hit that monster home run last night that really won them the game. And it's been different people stepping up at different points. So to me, everyone thought the Dodgers were going to win. People thought the Dodgers were going to win in 5. I think I predicted 5 or 6 for the Dodgers. I think 6. But the Blue Jays they've just outplayed them over the course of this series. And yeah, most of these games have been just controlled from the Canadians here, and the Dodgers, they haven't had much to do with it. It is hard, though, when you go through a lot of your bullpen options. The Dodgers' bullpen has not been great, for the record, but their starters have been so good. It's interesting to see Ohtani get knocked around there at the end. These guys maybe start to falter, just pitching more innings, pitching more games, and the wear and tear of the season really coming back to get you after injuries and just after a tough stretch here.
I do want to say one thing about the Springer injury, because I'm sick and tired of Toronto Blue Jays fans and other baseball fans saying that, like, Mariners fans and Dodgers fans are classless because they booed Springer when he got hurt or when he left the game against the Dodgers. No one booed him because he's playing for Toronto and they're happy he got hurt playing for Toronto. Seattle and Dodgers fans hate the Houston Astros. And that jackass was a part of that 2017 team that cheated and beat the Dodgers in the World Series back in 2017. And the Mariners had always been, the ugly little brother to the Astros for the last 7 or 8 years. And we finally won the West this year. And he's just one of those guys still in Major League Baseball. It is labeled as a cheater. So when he gets hurt, people get happy. And I can't fault people for that. It's not because he's on Toronto. They don't give a shit that he's on Toronto. He could be on any other team and they would still boo him. So I'm looking at the fan bases. When the same player keeps getting booed by multiple fan bases in the playoffs, maybe it's the player. All I'm saying. Jackass.
Yeah, I am number one. Did Ohtani just use up all his hits in the first couple of games? Because I don't know what the hell his past couple of games has
Last
been.
2 games have been terrible.
Yeah, and last but not least, I really don't care who wins this, but it is pretty nice seeing some sad Los Angeles in the stand. That is so just. I have no issues with that at all. So
I'd rather see happy people in LA than happy people in Canada.
it's also fair.
You're not going to Canada, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, there's just sons of bitches. Always
Right.
pretend to
I
be
mean, it is
nice.
kind of a surprise. I mean, because you look at the Dodgers in the playoffs, and they just freaking spanked Milwaukee, which had the best record in Major League Baseball. Then they played Philly, lost 1 game to them, but looked dominating. And you're thinking, doesn't matter who plays them from the American League, whether it's Toronto, it's Seattle, it's just not going to end well for those teams, because you look at the Dodgers, you look at their pitching, their starting pitching, and you're like, my God, it's like, when was the last time you heard a starter go 9 innings in the playoffs? Yeah, it's been quite some time. And you had Snell go 8 innings. Yamamoto goes 9. And you're like, holy cow, what? And then you look at their lineup and you're like, damn, Mookie Betts, Freeman. It's like Ohtani. You're like, the hell? How do you pitch to these guys? Because neither Milwaukee nor Philadelphia could figure that out. So when Toronto wins the American League, and they do it in 7 games, I was thinking, yeah, they may win 1 game, but they're going to trot out Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani. I don't see a win there. And then they beat up on Snell. Yamamoto did his thing. And then Ohtani, people don't realize that, but he played 18 innings the night before, or the morning actually, and then pitched that day. That's some tough shit. That's hard. I mean,
And ran the bases every single time he went to bat too.
that's because they kept putting on the bases. They could. I mean, he either got a hit, got a home run, or they walked him and they put him on there. But yeah, I mean, at some point, I probably would have pulled Ohtani, knowing that he was going to be my starting pitcher later that day. But it is, even though Toronto was probably the best team in the American League, and you saw how they handled the Yankees, and the Yankees won 1 game and that was it. And they go back to Toronto and they lose the next game, and it's over. Boom. Seattle gave them a run for their money, but Seattle's problem is that 7 through 9 can't hit the damn ball. Toronto, that whole lineup hits. It doesn't matter if you're batting first or you're batting ninth, you hit. We found that out. The Dodgers are now finding that out. Do I care who wins? I mean, kind of want Toronto to win because I want to look at the Dodgers and go, yeah, you're like the Yankees of the mid-'70s. We spend like all this money and you get to the World Series and you lose. Maybe next time you don't want to spend all the money you spent and tie that up for the next 20 years. Because you've got people that have contracts that go well beyond their playing years, and you're going to be paying them more money. I'm like, damn, didn't you learn anything from when the Mets did that? Obviously not. But no, I want Toronto to win. I don't have a problem with Canada. Been to Canada. I like Canada. I've been to LA. Yeah, not really too fond of LA. And their fans are warm weather fans, right? I mean, if the Dodgers go the next 2 years and only win like 40, 50 games, that stadium's empty except for the other team's fans, because they'll desert you in a heartbeat. They're not true fans. They'll be gone. You won't be seeing all the stars. They'll be going to a Clippers game or something.
Before we go to break, Jalen, I want to give you my prediction for over the weekend with the rest of the series. You're going to go back to Toronto. They're going to be up 3-2. Yamamoto's going to pitch another complete game, which would be his third in a row. The Dodgers win Game 6, and you're setting yourself up for a Game 7 in Toronto with Ohtani as the starting pitcher, and hopefully he's not playing 18 innings before that start. That would be an epic Game 7, having Ohtani on the mound. It's that Blue Jays offense. And I think Bieber would be up again at that point with Toronto, but I do think it's still going to end up going 7 games. I think Yamamoto, man, he's wild. He wanted to get in on that 18-inning game.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was warming up. He was next up.
And was convincing the manager, let me go in, man, I can do it. So I really do think he's going to have another complete game, shut him down again. He's been shutting everybody down. And we're going to see a Game 7 with Ohtani as starting pitcher. That's my prediction. We can go to break now.
I'm all for it. All right. We desperately need to go to a halftime break. So we will be back in 10 minutes.
I give them a 6.5. They don't have a running game. When Patrick Mahomes is your leading rusher, and he's not a running quarterback, by the way. That's not what he does.
I give him about a 7. I think it's more of scheme than anything. So I think they're going to have to change up how they're running the football.
I got him at a 5. To me, they've had one impressive win. We're going to give them credit for not going 0-3 because they beat the Giants and Dart's second professional start. You know, everyone keeps talking about how much of a dumpster fire Philly is, yet they lost to Philly.
I put them at a 9.
I also have them at a 9. These top teams in the AFC that were supposed to be right there should have been taking advantage of this time. If the AFC Championship game is right back in Arrowhead, I've seen this show before. I'm not going to pick anything besides what I've already seen.
I believe Detroit's going to bounce back. We talk about that bad game that Tampa is going to have. I think this is going to be the one. Give me Detroit minus the 5.
With the possibility all 3 of their wide receivers are now going to be out. Baker, who you throwing to? I'm going to roll with Detroit. Detroit at home, minus the 5.5.
Flacco had it cooking with Jamar Chase the entire night, which was something we have yet to see pretty much this entire season.
I don't think there's anything that would tell me that it can't continue. With the Colts, you would see him feeding the ball to guys like Downs, who is now non-existent. He would get the ball to guys much better than Anthony Richardson. So this isn't anything new. He just has these great damn receivers now. You're seeing the product of that.
And him being a veteran like he is, not having those happy feet jumping around, he knew now I can go other places. I done fed Chase. They're going to start double teaming Chase, or at least putting a safety over the top. Linebacker underneath. Now I got one-on-one with the other people, and they did. He didn't even get rattled. This man didn't even get rattled.
rattled.
There's a lot of issues with the Dolphins right now. Firing everybody? Okay. You better have a GM and a coach in place before you do that, and then do it before the draft so you can possibly draft someone. They have issues at DB. They have issues at linebacker. Some issues at D-line. Their O-line isn't good. Tua should have retired after his 10th concussion.
Tua, there's a lot of bad decision making on his part. Fire Chris Greer, fire McDaniels, let go of Tua. Let's reset. There's just no point in having pointless seasons like this.
Well, I just walked 2 miles of this damn stadium.
Can I get a Miller Lite, man? Miller.
Okay.
It's like $18. Look, we're Road G. Seats 21, 22. And LSU.
I apologize. Old drinks.
You're good. You're good. I want to know what happened to Baltimore's defense. Bucks ain't this good.
Incomplete. 3rd and goal.
Technically, it's 101st.
Holding. Bring that shit back. You're a wizard.
$1 more would have gotten you a highlight.
They conned us. They conned us into this.
That's some bullshit.
Excuse me, sir. There's a lot of elderly Ravens fans right here.
Yes, the Baltimore Colts marching band back when they used to have a marching band.
A lot of popcorn. Well, there goes our points.
There goes our points. Why are you so mad, man? You're so angry.
But the MVP right now for me is Patrick Mahomes. That team is following behind him. They're believing in what he do. And we're talking about straight MVP. I'm giving it to Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes has maybe played 2 really good games of football. When one team has drastically underperformed versus expectations and the other team has overperformed expectations with more injuries than even the Chiefs have had, I got to go with Baker Mayfield right now.
You can't say that Atlanta's defense played bad. He picked and chose his spots where he got those yards and kept Atlanta just at bay. When you got a quarterback like Matt Jones who's not having the best passing night, you have to stay ahead of the sticks for that quarterback. And that's what CMC did for this team tonight.
I'm going with the Steelers minus the 5.5.
Cincy always plays tough at home. I think Pittsburgh is going to win the game, but I don't think they're going to cover the 5. I think Cincy's going to play tough. Give me Cincy to cover the 5.
Pittsburgh is going to surprise some people. I don't think Joe Flacco is going to surprise anybody.
I see Cincy hanging in there and covering the 5. There's people taking the money line on Cincinnati.
I didn't have a chance to tell everybody, and that's what hurts because, being a teammate. But, like, to a certain degree, I was also quitting on them. And I understand that, like, it's hard. That's hard, and it's not. It's hard to celebrate that.
Yeah.
I live with that and own it, and that's okay. It's part of me. The other thing is during the game, I remember there were 8 minutes left, and I swear I felt the cameras turn on me or something, and like immediately I was like, oh shit, it's out. And I just remember going and standing next to Anthony Costanzo, I think Mark Lewinsky and Ryan Kelly, and just standing between them. And just like, hey guys, I'm just gonna stand between you for the next 8 minutes.
Protect me one last time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stand there. And again, I didn't feel alone.
We've seen bad Jets teams, obviously, throughout the years. But this one seems atrocious, like historically bad. I'm thinking, is Aaron Glenn going to be gone before the end of the year?
The Jets ownership are notoriously cheap when it comes to they're going to fire a coach and have to pay him for like 2 or 3 more years. They would rather their fans live in hell than pay their head coach 3 years to do absolutely nothing. Their backup quarterback is Tyrod Taylor. Is that any better?
And Justin Fields, yes. I think that Tyrod Taylor has been a better quarterback in the NFL than Justin Fields has been a quarterback. And he's been around for a very long time. You could have whatever game you want to have. The last time you touch the ball and it's a turnover and the other team wins, I don't think that means you can have a good game. And he just never really had it. The ball was wet. He tries to throw it into the running back's hands. They turn the ball over. You let Moody beat you. Moody beat you tonight. You're come on.
Give the ball to DeAndre Swift and let the man run. And you take the pressure off of Caleb Williams. And then you have the defense having to play DeAndre Swift. If the Bears hadn't shot themselves in the foot several times, especially when wide receiver Moore that lined up off sides, and of course, that last drive was pretty much all Swift.
And also, I think it has a lot to do with the Bears defense. We've been hearing that the Bears defense couldn't stop the run. To me, they did a pretty good job against the run. Jay Daniels, he had some good runs. Now, I thought that he got outside the pocket. When that Bears defense, excuse the pun, bear down and really collapsed the pocket on top of him, he could not escape. And then he was getting caught in that backfield. And I'm going to tell you now, if you go back and you look at the last fumble that he had, Jaden Daniels took his eye off the ball. Did the one thing you're not supposed to do.
Welcome back to your favorite show on the internet, AFR episode 260, second half. We're all still here to give you some fantasy, I guess you could say advice. I don't know if you would call it that, but that's the closest thing I could say. Fantasy talk and also betting picks for this weekend. Before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and cheers to a good second half. Before we do hit our kind of fantasy segment here, I did want to give Henry just a second to shout out your own YouTube channel and anything else you want to mention. If you want to just give the people at home brief synopsis of what your channel is about.
Absolutely. So generally it's been about, I've been trying to go semi-daily loads on what happened sports night before, especially with recapping college football, NFL, college basketball once that starts, and talking about sports stories, talking about some stories in a different way than the mainstream media, like betting that we did in the first segment. And yeah, just whatever comes on my mind. It's less about being formal and more about what's interesting to me. So I just started something. I just made a betting model a prediction model for basketball to learn about those lines and what creates those and how to beat the spread or just learn about predictions and stuff. So if you're interested in that at all, I just uploaded the first video on that, and we'll check back in with that. But trying to keep the content coming, the daily content, and it's less for me about the most views or pumping things out and into social media and stuff, more about practicing, being in front of the camera, practicing sports, covering a variety of sports topics in a lot of ways, and hopefully preparing myself for the future in sports. So there you go.
Kellogg, man, I gotta say, you sound way too smart to be on this show. I don't know what is.
Yeah, he's
Like,
great at what he does already, folks.
he's making videos to teach people about how to make the type of betting algorithms he made, and my dumb ass is like, I don't want to learn how you did it. Just give it to me so I can use it. I don't.
I don't learn how to make it.
I don't even know how it works. I just need to know it works. You're 9 out of 10 in 2 days, man.
Right.
We just hit another one. Pacers just covered.
Oh Lord.
Well, they're about to cover. We need them to cover. So
I'm just trying to break even on the night. We need to watch that. Watch that
hey,
video.
I think here's the thing. I look at my model. I'm like, this is obscene. I'm not. Why would anyone ever bet like this? And then you look at it, and it's like 80%. Like, what am I doing wrong?
You're doing everything right. That's how you do it. You tell me what you're betting, and I'll bet it too. We'll get the FBI looking at us. Don't worry about it. All bets.
Perfect.
All bets.
All right. Let's get into our fantasy league. So we check in every month, like at the end of every month, and just kind of how things are going with everybody. So Henry, for some context, we have our own league here, but you obviously play fantasy as well. So the same questions apply for you anyway. Yeah, so we always like to start off with, in this past month, in October, what was working well for you that you would like to kind of highlight here? And you can go ahead first, Henry.
Well, I will say generally, I'm a little bit of a wizard on the waiver wire. So I've had some great ones in the past. I picked up Puka Nacua his rookie year. That was a great one. Unfortunately, I won week 1, so I didn't get some of the guys I wanted. But in October, some of the big moves, I picked up Booty for the Patriots. That was a big one. Seahawks defense has been great for me. I also traded 1-for-1 J.K. Dobbins for Michael Pittman. I needed some receiver help, but Pittman's been fantastic. It felt like a little bit of a dumb trade at the time because Dobbins was top 5 in rushing at the start of October when I traded him. But Pittman's been really good in fantasy. And yeah, I mean, Lamar's been hurt for me. I have Lamar, but I also drafted Jordan Love there at the end, so he's been doing just fine. And yeah, I think waiver wires, the way that I look at it, the projections mean nothing. So you look at the guys scoring, you look at who's injured, how the quarterbacks are doing, how the rest of the team is doing. And yeah, if someone has a big game, don't be afraid to pick them up. So that's my play. Use the waiver wire. It's there. And in my league, it's also, I don't know what y'all's is, but ours is 2 running back, 3 receiver, 2 flex. So it's real thin for positions, but waiver wire is still there. So
G-Money, go ahead.
The only good thing that happened so far, I did pick up Sam Darnold because my other quarterbacks didn't know how to play quarterback. And when Kittles went down, I picked up Tongs for a little while to basically play that tight end 1 position for the Niners. Yeah, other than that, my team sucks. I mean, there's a reason we have 1 win. And people haven't produced like they should have. Aaron Jones basically has fallen off the cliff. Didn't help me a whole lot when Joe Burrows went down. I had T. Higgins, and then I decided to bench him when they traded for Flacco, and he had a good game. I'm like, oh, that's smart. So yeah, really nothing's worked for me except picking up Sam Darnold. That's about the only thing, because my other quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels got hurt. Michael Penix Jr. Really didn't do anything. So yeah, it sucks. My fantasy is more of a nightmare. And I'm hoping November will be better. But looking at my roster and who's out there available, I'm thinking, probably not.
Go ahead, June.
Yeah. So here's the deal. We were good to start off with. And we've lost the last 2 weeks, and I'm kind of like, oh man, what's going on? But I've had a lot of injuries. So I've been out there on the waiver wire, and I did pick up Booty from New England, and he's been playing good. I'm hoping that as I get some guys back off injury, that he fits into that mode, and I can get back to winning some games here, because I've lost the last couple of weeks. Matter of fact, the last 2 weeks I've lost to freaking Malin and Nestor. The last 2 weeks, and so I'm like, damn it. But yeah, so I'm just gonna stay on the waiver wire. I'm just gonna keep hitting that waiver wire until I can find some good matches as people get injured or people start coming back from injuries. Just keep looking to see who's out there to see if I can find that diamond in the rough. You know what I mean?
Another waiver wire wizard. Now, you know it's bad when you start off. You're supposed to be your highlights, and you start off with, now here's the deal.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nathan.
I mean, okay, so two things worked out for me in October. One, the Colts offense. After week 1, I had Jared Goff. He didn't do much, and there was Daniel Jones just chilling there on the waiver wire. So I picked him up. That was great. Jonathan Taylor falling into my lap. Awesome. Tyler Warren at tight end has been great. It doesn't hurt having a top 5 QB and Daniel Jones, the number 1 running back, and then having JSN as your top wide receiver, and hopefully Puka comes back this week. Another thing that works for me, Jalen, is that I had the draft strategy all along that I don't care what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick the best available person at the position I need. I'm not going to go reaching. And when my draft was over, I was like, I got like 6 buys on week 8. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and chalk up week 8 to a loss. And sure enough, I got my roster back in there, and I'm projected to score under 150 points. The only 2 losses that I've had this year, I would have beaten every other person in our league except for the person I was playing against. And Jalen, I know you were sweating. Even with all them buys I had, I know you were sweating. I know you were sweating in that game. I needed the Colts to have a big game, but they had too big of a game, man. They took all their starters out with like 7 minutes left. I was like, damn it. And then your kicker gets 2 50-yard field goals within like the first quarter. And I was like, well, this game's over, because I was only up by like 11 and a half at that point. But yeah, I mean, I'm 6-2. I'm rolling. I know I haven't had my bye yet, but I've still scored 250 more points than the next closest to me in the league. So my team's rolling. We're scoring a lot of points. I just need Puka back. I need Puka back. The Scadaboo injury sucked. I didn't like that. I put him after Evans got hurt. Now I got to rely on Addison. I don't like having to rely on Addison right now with the shit show going on with the Vikings. But Colts and then all them buys on week 8. Get them all out of the way so we can just keep trucking.
Go ahead, Nestor. Oh, you're on mute.
Hear me now?
There we go.
Okay. What has worked well for me is surprisingly DeAndre Swift on the Bears. He has quietly put up some points because we know Ashton Genty is on the terrible Raiders. So he's been quietly helping out my running back room. And after that, Tucker Craft, man. Tucker Craft has been going insane. Every other game is like 30 points. That guy has been like, I knew I had it, whatever I drafted, I had to have him at tight end. So he's been coming in clutch, honestly. And then, of course, it doesn't hurt to have Waddle because I knew something told me some mess was going to happen at the Dolphins this year, and Tyreek Hill was not going to play the whole season. So, yeah.
For me, it is, I mean, the same as last month where Christian McCaffrey has just been great. So that continued. But the kind of bigger surprise for me was I needed to find someone to fill in for Lamar, and I put in Drake May, who I picked up at the tail end of the draft. And thank God for Drizzy Drake May, because he has been coming through for me. So that's the two driving factors to my team right now are Drake May and C-Mac. So, yeah.
Call him Drizzy May and then say he's coming through. That's crazy. That's a line.
That's a bar for you. All right. On the opposite side of this, things that, or kind of one thing that did not work well for you this month. Go ahead, Henry.
I found that there were a few times where I tried to pick up someone, and my team is doing enough to win, so I'm way too low on the waiver wire. I did just about everything possible to get Rico Dowdle. Even the week before he scored 30, I was trying to pick him up. I even tried to trade some of my other guys for him, and I couldn't get him. And Christian Watson, couldn't get him. Some other people scooped him up. So, yeah, it's the issue of I'm winning, but I'm struggling now on the waiver wire because I'm too low.
G Money.
Yeah. Well, 1-16. Everything went wrong. And in October, nobody performed well for my team. Nobody. I think I lost to someone who had like 4 players on a bye, and he didn't replace them. He just left them. It's like taunting me. And he still beat me by 10 points. I mean, yeah, my team sucks. I mean, quite frankly, I'm about to report them to the FBI because I think they're fucking tanking on purpose. I think there's some side bets going on somewhere.
You got some good names, too. That's so weird.
We'll
That's a decent name.
That's the class action suit that we're building. Go ahead, June.
No, well, it's the defenses. I've been trying to find a defense, and these defenses have been killing me. I mean, -10, 1 point, 0 points. So that has not worked well, and I cannot find a defense to save my life. Even when a team is playing a bad team, they're still giving up a lot of points. And so I just been pulling my hair out, trying to figure out why this defense is killing my team so much. Defenses sometimes don't help and don't hurt. The defenses I picked the last couple of weeks have just hurt. So that's been the low light for me during this time.
Go ahead, Malin.
Well, same thing that was a good thing for me having all those buys on week 8 was the other thing that didn't work for me is that I had all those buys on week 8. I mean, I put together a pretty competitive roster, I thought. But when Judy goes for nothing for the first time all year, I was like, that doesn't help me. And then three of my people in my lineup get benched with 7 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, and I'm only up 10 on you. That didn't work out well for me. But I was totally fine with losing week 8 until I realized I was playing you, Jalen. Then that pissed me off. I was like, I'm playing Jalen on week 8 because he's been humming. Like, I would have beaten everybody else, man. Everybody else I would have beat him. I'm just glad I get one more crack at you at the end of the year. I'm gonna whoop your ass then. But injuries also though. I mean, losing Evans and then Scatterboo, you hate to lose people that were giving you like 12 to 14 points every single week in your flex. But if Nakua comes back healthy, I'm fine. Nakua's back healthy, I'm fine. But yeah.
Nestor.
Not even Ashton Genty is the problem on my roster because every now and then he, apart from that horrible team, he does something and puts up points. It's Nico Collins, man. Like that team and that OC they're just like, I don't know if you guys seen these TikToks where they put like, they make these players when they like, have a goose egg, like they do nothing. They'll put like this terrorist music in the background, and they just destroy their fantasy league week. That's what Nico Collins is doing to my team, week in, week out. Him getting a concussion was probably the best thing he could have done for my roster. Hopefully, when he gets back, I don't know what's gonna happen, but fire Nick Haley, Houston. Please fire Nick Haley. Hire anybody. Anybody can have that position. A chimpanzee can do that job.
For me, it has to be what's his name? Sorry, Rashad White for me, which wasn't awful, but these past 2 weeks he's been completely useless. He's given me 16.5 points total in 2 weeks. So, and shows the bigger picture because Tampa they can't get the running game going at all. June, I did not completely forget about you. We can go right back to you, June.
No, you got me.
I already went.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. I didn't realize you were on mute.
Oh no,
Jalen, I will say that it's like White sucked for you in October, but with the Scatterboo injury, it kind of backed right into a number one option with the Giants with Tracy.
Yes.
So that's not. I do think it's interesting that you got Lamar Jackson in the starting lineup over Drake May. Do you think that's interesting?
Only because of who Lamar is playing this week. We're on a week by week basis in our locker room.
Just man, I know that like he's going up against Miami, but he's been out a few weeks. May's going up against Atlanta, which that defense ain't very good either.
That's also true.
But I don't know. That's a gamble.
Game time decision. Game time decision.
Gamble. You do got a good roster though, and you having Pittman pissed me off too. I agree.
I'm looking at like what changes should we be making this next month, but for time's sake, I think we may just skip right over that because we are nearing the 2-hour mark, and we haven't even hit the damn Ride or Die in 5. So,
let's do it.
Your changes that needs to be made. That's your homework. I don't know. Work on that. Let's get right into the Ride or Die in 5 because time. So, folks, this is where we give you 5, really technically 6, of the best betting picks to make in the NFL this weekend. Excuse me. Last week We all went 2-3 besides Malin. He went 3-2. And we all hit our locks besides June. Not to single June out, but it is what it is.
Fire Raheem Morris. Come on, Atlanta. What are you doing? What are you doing, Atlanta?
Hey, they had to start Kirk Cousins, man. It ain't his fault.
Yeah. So as of right now, the pecking order goes: Malin, G Money, myself, Nestor, June. Our guest last week, Milton, he went 2-3. So Henry, that's what you've got to beat is 2-3 from the guest last week, which I think the best we had a guest go is 3-2, which was Frank, like at the beginning of the month. So putting that out there for you. But anyway, we are going to start off with the game tomorrow night between the Ravens and the Dolphins, where the Ravens are 8-point favorites on the road here. Henry, we will start with you. What is your pick here?
Yeah, I think the Ravens cover. You know, they're picked to win the division for a reason. Lamar, it looks like he's going to be back. So with him back, even without him last week, they looked better. Harbaugh, they've been good. So they're going to recover and they're going to get their season on the right track with a big win here.
G Money.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that. Even if Lamar isn't back, I think Miami is going to get a big dose of Travis Henry. And this is one of those games where Travis Henry runs for like 150 yards. Give me Baltimore minus the 8.
Rico Dowdle just ran for like 220 on him. So if that's any indication.
But Travis will pull himself out after like the middle of the third quarter.
All right. Go ahead, June. Just go ahead.
You know, I'm so mad. I'm so mad at the last week and betting against the Dolphins.
Now you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Give me the Dolphins plus the 8, man. I'm gonna take them. If they disappoint me again, Nestor, I swear, for God, if they do it to me again. But give me the Dolphins plus the 8, man.
That's my luck.
It's like, yeah.
I am going to take the Ravens to cover here. I'm convinced that the win the Dolphins got last week was a bit of a fluke. It was Raheem Morris. It was Atlanta. Kirk Cousins. Unless Tua plans on getting pink eye again or punched in the eye, whatever happened to him. Unless that happens again, where he's playing with one eye, I think that the Dolphins are still as cooked as they looked 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, take the Ravens to cover. Malin.
I mean, first of all, I think 8 points on the road is wild for any 2-win team. It's insane. Vegas knows something we don't. I know that on the Hard Rock that 56% of the money is going to the Ravens right now. Listen, they already said that Lamar Jackson's going to come back and play, or at least Harbaugh said he's on track to play, which means he's going to play. And what did that offense do when Lamar Jackson played an entire game? They averaged 36.5 points a game. They may have lost 2 out of 3 of those, but they were still putting up a lot of points. The defense is playing better. I mean, that defense did hold the Rams to 17 points, and they held the Bears to their worst point total of the year at 16. So I'm going to go ahead and go Ravens. Minus the 8 on this one. It better not fuck me. Better not fuck me on this one.
And Nestor.
I think Miami would just about hang in there. I don't know if hopefully, I mean, I hope they win, but I think they'll hang in there, especially at home. I remember the game against the Bills. We were kind of there for a while until the Bills just kind of took off. I don't think the Bills covered. Um, Granted, the Ravens are a whole different type of team, but they've been struggling again, like defense, offense, as far as coaching goes. So I still think Devon A Chain can have a hell of a game, and I still think we can kind of light them up a little bit. It's just going to come down to our defense if we can stop Travis Henry from scoring. So that's the only thing.
Not Trav. All right. So let's go on to the next game here. So Sunday at 1:00, we've got the Colts at the Steelers, and the Colts again 3-point favorites on the road here. G Money, we will start with you first.
Yeah, give me the Colts. We've seen, as of right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is absent. We don't know where they are. They might be in Canada, who knows? But they're not showing up Sundays to play, that's for certain. And I like Indy. I like their offense. And I like their defense. And yeah, Pittsburgh loses another one. Give me Indy -3.
June.
Yeah, I like the Colts in this game. I just think they're the better team, and I think that Pittsburgh's about to go on a free fall for the next few games. So, give me the Colts -3.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the nightmare is just starting to sink in in Pittsburgh. I'm going to agree with you guys. Go ahead, Malin.
Yeah. Listen. I've been watching this Colts team because of my fantasy team. All they do is put up 35 points a game. Out of the 13 major statistics that people look at, from yards per play, rushing yards, rushing attempts, yards per rush, passing attempts, completion percentage, yards per completion, yards per attempt, and QB rating, Colts offense has the advantage over Steelers defense on every single one of those metrics. The Colts are number 1 in yards at 385 a game. Pittsburgh's defense is ranked 30th in the league, giving up 386. They're 18th against the run, and we all know that the Colts have Jonathan Taylor. I just don't see that Steelers defense being able to slow down that Colts offense. I think giving the Colts a -3 is an easy pick there. I'm taking the Colts.
Nestor?
Yeah, definitely give me the Colts. Pittsburgh, their defense is not showing up.
And Henry.
I'm with all you guys. If I think the Vegas is banking on the fact that they don't think that people have watched the Colts. Because if you have watched the Colts, you've seen them just dominate the line of scrimmage. Jonathan Taylor's been one of the best backs in the NFL. And their passing game has been fantastic because of their run game. You can drive a truck through some of those holes that Jonathan Taylor is running through. They're not asking Daniel Jones to do too much. Despite, as you guys have talked about, despite Pittsburgh having the highest payroll in the NFL for their defense has been horrible. So I think the Colts just score too much, and Indiana's defense has been serviceable, even in their closer games and their one loss over there to the Rams. Very easy.
All right. Next one.
Oh, did I mention that Indianapolis 6-2 against the spread too? It's like one of the better against the spread so far this year. The Colts are.
Next game, we've got the Broncos at the Texans. The Texans are 2-point favorites at home here. And June, you can go ahead first.
Yeah, give me the Broncos. The Broncos are just a better team. +2. Yeah, I don't trust Houston not one bit. They don't have an offense that can put up any points against the Broncos defense. I don't care if the Broncos are on the road or not. They just don't have the offense to be able to do it. So give me the Broncos +2.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Broncos plus the 2 points here. This one feels a little weird. I feel like they should be favored here. It kind of smells like another one of those Vegas trap games that we've had no shortage of this year. But I'm just going to go ahead and take it. Denver plus the 2 for me. Go ahead, Malin.
Taking the Broncos on this one. I know that Houston sneakily has the #1 defense in the NFL. So I do not think that Denver's going to go off for 30 points or 40 points in this game. That Houston's defense legit. I mean, hell, they forced 4 turnovers out of Seattle, which accounts for a third of our turnovers for the whole year in one game. But we still won that game. Why? Because Houston's offense is atrocious. And the Broncos have the #5 defense in the NFL. After seeing what that Houston offense was able to accomplish against Seattle's defense, which is still a top 10 defense, but not #5. Currently, they're ranked #9. I don't have any faith in that Houston offense putting up a crap ton of points on Denver. I think they're going to come out. You said it's a 2-point spread. Denver's -2.
Plus
on that
2.
one, I'm going to go ahead and take Denver +2. Oh, yeah, all day. Both of them have really great defenses. Sean Payton's got that offense with Denver humming a little bit. Well, not even a little bit, a lot better than what Houston's doing.
Nestor.
Yeah, give me Denver. Even without Patrick Surtain in there, I still think they get it done. So yeah, Denver.
Henry.
Yeah, you guys have hit it, but Houston's defense is super undervalued. They have a really, really good defense. But for me, the thing is, the Broncos defense from a numbers perspective influences the spread more. Their defense is more valuable in terms of the power ratings and the predictive measures. So even with Houston's defense being great, I think the Broncos, they can come back. They can keep it close. We saw them just lead the unbelievable comeback a few weeks ago. Bo Nix can turn it on in the fourth quarter. So even if it doesn't look close at the start, I just have too much faith in the Broncos at the end. And especially with the plus money, I'm with you. I think this one should be favored for the Broncos, but it is at home for Houston. So Houston's had a rough start. They're trying to get it back on track. They need to win this one, but I think the Broncos do it. So I'll take the Broncos to cover.
And G-Money.
Yeah, I'm going with Houston. I just tend to think when you look at the defenses and you want to see, number one, how are you going to do against a really good offense? And I don't know if Denver has a really good offense. I know they're efficient. I know what Bo Nix did, but he did that against the Cowboys and the Giants. Neither of those teams have good defenses. Can he do that against a #1 defense? Can he do that? That's going to be the question. And my thought is, yes, it's going to be close. And then it's going to be the fourth quarter, and he's going to try to do the same thing he did against Dallas and against the Giants. Only it's going to be intercepted. And it's going to be run back for a touchdown. And he's going to walk off the field not knowing why that happened. I'm taking Houston. I made the mistake last week by taking the Niners, thinking that, I've seen the Niners, I've watched them play, even with the injuries. It didn't seem to bother them any. And after Houston playing us, and yeah, they got 4 turnovers. They got a strip sack touchdown of Sam Darnold in the end zone. I'm like, yeah, their offense didn't play well. Their defense is that defense comes to play. And if you think you're playing someone other than them, if you just look and go, well, it's Houston, their offense sucks. We'll see what they can do offensively. But I think if it's a close game going into the fourth quarter, I think they get that turnover and score. I'm taking Houston.
All right. The next game here, we've got the biggest game of the weekend between the Chiefs and the Bills. This is the Mahomes Allen Bowl part, whatever here. The Bills are 1.5 points underdogs at home here. I will kick this off first because this is not a playoff game. I'm going to take the Bills and the 1.5 point at home here. And the Bills seemingly are getting their kind of mojo back. The Chiefs appear to also be back, but regular season wise at home, I just feel like the Bills are at this point the team to beat here. And again, if this was a playoff game, obviously completely different pick for me, but this is where the Bills feel like, they're going to beat their chest. They're going to get back on top and show the NFL why they are the team to beat in the AFC, even though it really does not matter because it's just a regular season game for the Chiefs. So, yeah, I will take the Bills plus the 1.5 here. Should be a great game. Looking forward to it. And go ahead, Malin.
This one perplexes me. Just because, I don't know. If you listen to sports pundits, the Chiefs are back. Even though their last 2 wins were against Las Vegas and Washington without Jaden Daniels, and they beat Mariota. Josh Allen is not Geno Smith, and he's not Marcus Mariota. The only thing, this is why, to me, this is a toss-up. I could literally just flip a coin, Jalen, and tell you which one I want to pick on this one. Because oddly enough, the Chiefs are 5-3 against the spread. Every time they win, they're against the spread, and this is such a small spread. It's like whichever team wins is going to be the one, covering the spread. But like you said, Josh Allen seems to have the Chiefs number during the regular season. And I think that Josh Allen is going to do just enough to win this game. I think the Chiefs are playing better, but I don't think they're all the way back to deserve all the hype they're getting. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Bills on this one.
All right, Nestor.
Originally I wanted to take Kansas City because I saw how they played against Washington. I like some things when it comes to Rashee Rice and their running game. The Bills are playing at home. Yeah, man was right. I mean, Chiefs have only beaten the Raiders, who just bend over every time they play the Chiefs. And in Washington, they didn't have Daniels. Yeah, give me the Bills in this one. I don't like it, but yeah.
All right, go ahead, Henry.
I'm going to take it the other way. I think the Chiefs win this one. To me, the Chiefs, the Chiefs defense has always been pretty good, but their offense is starting to come around. Rashee Rice is back. This is his 3rd week back, I think. And yeah, their offense is starting to get in a groove, and their offense has been so good. And the issue for me is, yes, the Bills' offense has also been good, but their defense has been lackluster. It hasn't been consistent. Maybe it can get you a stop or two, important ones a game, but just for me, that with the way the Chiefs are really starting to roll on that side, and with how consistent their defense has been, I think they win this one. I think they win this one and cover. So there you go.
And G Money.
Well, we've said it all. This is almost again like deja vu all over again when we did the same picks last year. Last year, I said that Kansas City was 0-4 against the Bills in the regular season. Didn't cover any one of those games. Then they went and lost, went 0-5. It's because the Chiefs just see this as another game. The Bills see this as like their Super Bowl, which is not the way you should look at it. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I think Buffalo still wins it. I think they go 6-0 against Kansas City in the regular season and then lose again in the playoffs if Kansas City makes it. So I'm taking Buffalo.
True.
And June.
Yeah, I think the Bills and the Chiefs are both kind of having the same conversation that we're saying. And I think that Patrick Mahomes has that thing in him where he's like, you know what? We have to go out and beat this team on the road. We haven't really beat anybody. And now that we're kind of back together and we got our full team out there, I think it's time that we showed that we could go on the road and beat somebody. So I think that the Chiefs come out, and they're going to be pretty unstoppable. So give me the Chiefs to win the game, to go on the road in Buffalo and win this game.
All right. All right. Last game here. This is the Monday night game between the Cards and the Cowboys, where the Cowboys are 2.5 point favorites at home. And Nestor, we will start with you.
What? You skipped me? Goddamn.
Oh, we didn't start with you.
You started last. I'll go last. I don't give a shit.
Go ahead, Nestor.
Oh, no.
I think Arizona's just too inconsistent for me to choose them in any game, mostly. I still think Dak is not a bad quarterback. I thought the Cardinals defense was going to play better this year. Looking at their numbers and their results, they've been pretty shitty this year. So give me the Cowboys to bounce back and get a win at home.
We're on Henry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this one, just because it's at home for the Cowboys, we mentioned this earlier, but they pretty much only win at home. They need a bounce back game after having 40 dropped on their head. And out of all the teams in the NFL, if it's a close game, you can bet on the Cardinals to lose. So they've done that a few times this season, where even if they're winning by a lot, the other team will make it way closer than they should. Even the Panthers almost came back down like 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. My sweet Panthers, they almost did it, but that's beside the point. I think the Cowboys are going to win this one. Their offense is so good. And even in a bad game, they still put up over 3 touchdowns. I think they'll win this one. I just don't trust the Cardinals in a road environment where it could be close.
Gotcha. G-Money.
Yeah, Arizona has played a lot of close games this season. That's in part to their defense, not so much their offense. And I think Kyler Murray is back. Did he get the pre-release of Call of Duty? So he's finished playing that, so now he can come back and actually play some football. But Dallas does win at home. And they win close games at home. And I think Dallas wins by 6. So I'm going to take Dallas minus the 2.5. I have no faith in Arizona. I have no faith in their quarterback.
June.
Yeah, I think because Dallas is at home, I think they're a different team. They play way. We've seen they play way better at home. I mean, the Packers game should be any indication of they play way better at home. But so I think they pull this out. I just don't trust the Cardinals. You know, they don't have James Conner. They're missing a couple other people. I think the Cowboys just pull this game out. Plus, the Cowboys got their weapon, you know, in Brandon Aubrey. So if it comes out to a close game, I think Brandon Aubrey can just close the game at any point in time. So give me the Cowboys to cover that 2.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with all you guys. The Cowboys are at home. They are a better team than the Cardinals. So yeah, Malin.
I mean, listen, it's either going to be it's the number 2 offense against the number 19 defense, or the number 22 offense against the 31st ranked defense. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer that Dallas should win this game easily, in my opinion. As long as they don't force the ball and they throw the ball to the number 3 wide receiver in the league and the true number 1 wide receiver on the Dallas Cowboys, which is Pickens, I think they're going to be great. Because Pickens ballins, man, off of less catches than a lot of other wide receivers. Like I think Chase has like 27 more catches, and yet Pickens only is behind him like 30 yards. He's like 30 yards away from being the number 2 yardage person on the team. He's averaging 15.9 yards per catch, and I think he's number 2 in the league behind Amon St. Brown in touchdowns. He has 6 touchdowns on the league. As long as they don't force the ball to the has-been, never was, and they give it to the right guy, I think they're going to win that game easily. I'm taking Dallas. Don't even say it, June.
Right.
Got the stats.
All right. Last but not least, let's hit our locks here. This is any bet that you would like to make within the NFL this weekend. It could be just one thing. It could be a parlay, whatever you want here. Just one thing that you are certain is going to hit this weekend, and you would encourage the audience to tail you on. So, Malin, we will start with you here first. What is your lock this weekend?
My lock this week is I'm taking Seattle minus the 3 over Washington on Sunday Night Football. Do not believe in Washington's offense. I'm hearing that Daniels may start, but I know that McLaurin is not playing with a hamstring injury. Last I heard, Debo is still about 15 pounds overweight. Laramie Tunsil, their starting left tackle, has a leg injury. He's not practicing right now. I love Seattle's pass rush on this. I love Seattle's offense right now. Give me Seattle minus the 3 as my lock.
All right. Henry, you can go next.
All right, sweet. We already talked about the Colts. That could be mine. But another thing I would say is the Packers covering against the Panthers at home. It's a big spread, 12.5. It's always a little iffy in the big spreads. However, and for me, the Panthers haven't won on the road yet. Bryce Young is not going to play. And they scored, I think, 3 points last week against the Bills. I'm not mistaken, and the Packers are probably a better team than the Bills with a better defense and an offense that's getting healthy. They're also at home. The Packers play better at home. They're a young team. Panthers are also young. I just think this is one where the Panthers get blown out again. But yeah, if I was a betting man, I would probably alternate. I would probably change the line. I'd probably make it a little closer. So maybe 9.5 for the Packers. Take your extra 3 points. But Packers, if you know, Packers to cover, I'll just say that. So
G Money.
I'm going to do a 3-team parlay.
Boy.
Straight up money lines on these teams. You ready?
Go ahead. Sir.
Indy. All right. I got Indy. Why? Because that's 7-1 against the money line. 7-1. I mean, I don't know why I wasn't betting these guys before with doing parlays. Obviously, I was doing stupid bets. The Pats, they're 5-2 on the money line. I'm doing them too. And I threw Green Bay, and I didn't even look what they were versus the money line. I just like who they're playing. And I thought, so it's Indy, the Pats, and Green Bay, all money line.
Hopefully you didn't just fuck my fantasy team and Jalen's Patriots, but
I didn't last week, so you know.
Yeah, you did. You hit your locks last week.
June, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also doing a 3-team on the money line.
There we go.
All right.
You taking
I'm taking
Atlanta?
the Rams. No. I'm taking the Rams over the Saints. I'm taking the Jaguars over the Raiders. And I'm taking the Chargers over the Titans. I should have been with all three of those teams last week, but you know, hey. But yeah, so that's my money line. 3-team money line bet.
Who were the Raiders playing? The Jaguars?
The Jaguars.
Watch Pete Carroll fuck you on that one. They shouldn't, but watch him do some stupid shit. You know,
I'm not talking to you.
It's not going to happen, though. You want to know why? Because the Jaguars haven't had a turnover in 2 games, yet they're still number 2 in the league in turnovers. And they're about to go up against Geno Smith, which leads the league in interceptions. So, and I think fumbles for a quarterback. I think he leads the league in fumbles for a quarterback and is tied for first in interceptions. And is a turnover machine.
My lock, I am taking the over after some consulting. Of course, did some consulting on this one. Taking the over on the Steeler and Indy game at 50 points. So,
There you go. Okay.
that's where we're going. Nestor, bring us home.
Okay, so I also did some consulting. I've hit like all the locks except 1 week. I like Detroit to whoop the Vikings' ass, and I like Gibbs to score. So give me Detroit to win and Gibbs anytime touchdown.
Very solid pick. All right, let me repeat this drive-through order back to you guys here. All right, starting with tomorrow, we're all taking the Ravens to cover the 8 points besides June. Then we are all taking the Colts to cover the 3 points against the Steelers. We are all taking the Broncos plus the 2 besides G Money. We are all taking the Bills plus the 1.5 besides June. And then all of us are taking the Cowboys to cover the 2.5 points.
I took the Chiefs as well.
Oh, you also took it. Gotcha.
You do.
That is why we do this. All right. Yeah, so they were all taking the Cowboys to cover the 2.5 points against the Cardinals.
Didn't Nestor take the Dolphins too?
Yeah, I take the Dolphins. Yeah.
Going back.
Thanks, June. I didn't hear that.
Brave souls over there. All right. Okay, and locks. So G Money's got a 3-pick parlay. He's got the Colts to win, Patriots to win, Packers to win. I'm taking the over on Indy and Pittsburgh game. June's also got a 3-pick parlay. Rams to win, Jags to win, and Chargers to win. And then Malin is taking the Seahawks to cover the 3 points against the Commanders. Nestor's got a 2-pick parlay, Lions to win and Gibbs to score a touchdown. And then last but not least, Henry has got the Packers covering 12 points against the Panthers. All good?
Good.
Let's get up out of here.
Yes.
That got me.
All right, folks. Thank you all for watching, listening. Henry, thank you so much for taking the massive chunk out of your Thursday evening here to come, or what's it, Wednesday, or whatever it is now.
Whatever day it is.
It's Thursday for me.
Now it
1
is.
a.m. over
Yeah.
here.
Jesus. Yes, if you want to follow Henry, his YouTube and Instagram will be linked down in the description below, so be sure to do that. And besides that, hey, we will see you all next time. Have a good week. Peace out.
Peace out.